And it's time to talk about Russia's massive gamble in the Arctic. In a major development, Putin seems to have backed Trump's plan to take over Greenland. On Thursday, while speaking at an Arctic forum, Putin said Trump's plan to annex Greenland was serious and one with long-standing historical roots. Putin just implied that Trump's claims over Greenland are not unfounded and baseless. Here's what Putin said. We are talking about serious plans on the American side with regard to Greenland. These plans have long-standing historical roots. He adds, it's a deep mistake to think that this is some extravagant talk from the new American administration. It is nothing of that sort. And then Putin made a proposal to US. He said, okay, we are rivals, but that should not stop us from cooperating in economic areas. In February, the Kremlin said that Russia and the US could work together to develop natural resources there as the two countries pursue a fast-moving rapprochement. In the second half of the video, we shall discuss why embracing Trump is Russia's snub to China. We have heard for many years that, look, Russia and China may gang up on the West in the Arctic, but Putin won't allow that. We shall discuss that later, but first, let's know more about the Arctic region, why both Putin and Trump are so keen on developing infrastructure there. First of all, national security. The Arctic is also a key military battleground. Defense experts say Russia has boosted its presence far more rapidly than the West, reviving Soviet-era bases and modernizing its naval fleet. For the US, the Arctic holds critical national security importance, serving as a key location for its early warning system against nuclear attacks, and there is a massive economic opportunity. Vladimir Putin has made commercial expansion via the Northern Sea Route or the NSR a top priority. As Western sanctions push Russia to pivot towards Asia, Moscow is ramping up Arctic trade. Oil shipments from Russian ports to China via the NSR surged by 25% last year. Putin assured that global investors willing to invest in Russia's NSR would see strong returns. To strengthen its Arctic infrastructure, Putin called for expanding northern ports and building a modern merchant fleet supported by a new generation of nuclear-powered icebreakers. A lot of things going on with Russia, but now let's bring in China angle. Putin knows that Greenland today is on the verge of becoming a Chinese vassal state. See this, an assessment by US Intel Chief Tulsi Gabbard. It highlights China's quiet but steady expansion into Greenland, aiming to secure critical minerals and gain a foothold in the future Arctic shipping lanes, opening due to accelerating ice melt. By 2040, the maritime industry anticipates the emergence of major polar and northern sea routes, transforming global trade. These new Arctic trade corridors are expected to rival and perhaps even surpass the importance of the Panama Canal, reshaping the geopolitical and economic landscape of global commerce. China is eyeing to dominate these upcoming sea routes, which would be terrible for US but also bad for Russia. China's dominance in the Arctic would forever turn Russia into China's colony. The Arctic is where these two nations have failed to find a common ground. For instance, this paper published by Carnegie Endowment reveals how Russia treats the NSR like its domestic route, but on the other hand, China wants to internationalize it. Russia does not like that. The two nations cooperate well in oil and gas sectors, and that is Putin's red line. For instance, some years back, China expressed its interest in investing $78 million in the construction of a deep-sea port in Arkhangelsk. Guess what? Putin cancelled it. That's why China began looking beyond Russia and grew closer to nations like Denmark, Iceland, and Norway. There's a massive lack of trust between these two countries. A key example occurred in June 2020 when Moscow accused prominent Arctic scientist Valery Mitko of spying for Beijing. Mitko was charged with treason for allegedly handing over classified Arctic research and submarine sensor technology to China. You see, China betrayed Russia there by planting its spy inside Russia's defense industry. Putin knows China cannot be trusted. The Sino-Russo ties is actually a marriage of convenience. There is no alliance as such. Putin now looks willing to embrace Trump to contain China's growing tentacles in the Arctic region. And that's all for today. Thanks for watching Global News Factory. Bye bye. Take care.